I would like to read something to you all, and I quote, "Why do you make tap dance content? Black men in AES are putting in work and advancing our people, along with combating black propaganda, creating pro-black propaganda as you defend the Euros." Very interesting, brother. First of all, we did not come out the same puss. Don't call me your brother. You are liable to kill me just like any other stranger out there in the real world, because I don't fully trust any stranger out there, because all of you have the ability to harm and hurt my very soul, and we don't want that. Second, defending the Euros. This is in reference to that video about black people getting mad that there was a white UFC fighter or a non-black UFC fighter adopting children, because how dare he provide children a home and a stable family where they could learn how to be civilians growing up with a strong familial bond, because the people who had sex to make them clearly don't want them. And so clearly that's bad somehow. But I wonder what else could be considered tap dancing content. Would it be the black girl that faked kidnapping, the black man who's gay that faked a hate crime, the various examples of fake racial hate crimes stoked by a bunch of people who clearly just wanted to say white man bad on any given day? I wonder why that's considered tap dancing. Oh, it's because a lot of people have this lens in their mind that black people, all of them, all across the country, or at least all across the world, have the same mindset of 400 years and everything is a form of reparations. Maybe that's it. But in the real world, we understand that every black person is not a criminal. Every white guy is not a racist. Every white guy doesn't want to shoot up a school. Every fat person doesn't want to eat your food. Every transgender doesn't want to touch your kid. There's a million, billion, trillion types of individuals out there. Everybody's not doing the same thing. Some people are normal and they're fine. I praise those people. I even praise them when they're getting shat on by an entire group of black people for not doing what they want them to do in terms of teaching the youth how to deal with certain situations, as in dealing with cars or dealing with the police, because somehow that's not black enough for some people. So I never really understand what's tap dancing, but allow me to put on a show for you. Do you remember a year ago, maybe two, when a landlord gave an eviction notice to a woman and decided, as the woman in this scenario getting the eviction notice, it would be a great idea to kill the landlord?
Today, Frances Walker's family is able to access her home on North Washtenaw.
I was in tears, but what can we do? You know, see stuff everywhere, pictures of her when she got married and her brother, and just feel we miss her more.
While the family gathered mementos, one of Walker's tenants was in court, charged with killing Walker on Monday. Today, a Cook County judge ordered Sandra Kololu held on no bail.
I can see they're still investigating. The authorities want to have a fair trial, and in a fair trial, she's going to be locked up for a long time.
I was happy with the decision today because I think this woman doesn't deserve to be in the community.
Today in court, a Cook County prosecutor told the judge Walker put an eviction notice on Kololu's door Sunday, and that other tenants heard the two arguing.
The basement tenant heard the defendant screaming and what sounded like a dish breaking. The basement tenant heard the victim's voice trying to calm the defendant down, and that was the last time she heard the victim's voice.
The prosecutors said police were called to the house 3 times on Monday to check on Walker, the third time discovering some of Walker's body parts in a freezer. Relatives tell us Walker called police previously to have Kololu removed after making threats, but Kololu resided there and was allowed to stay.
It's the renters that has favor. Look what happened. If the police would have listened, our system was really there, our sister would have been alive.
There are still improvements that can be made to the system and still keep it fair, because if they look at this fairly, they know this is a dangerous person.
You remember that, right? Well, she's been found guilty of that, and she's going to jail for 50 plus years.
A woman convicted of murdering her landlord and stuffing the body in a freezer has been sentenced to more than 50 years behind bars.
WGN's Julian Cruz is covering the case for us. He's live at the Cook County Criminal Courts building with the latest on today's sentencing. Julian?
Well, Ben and Lord of Chicago police back in 2022 finding Frances Walker's dismembered body in a freezer, a kitchen freezer, and the manner of her death so painful to her family, and they spoke out at today's emotional sentencing.
the judge for mercy, but she did not give my sister any mercy.
Frances Walker's sister and other loved ones at the Layton Criminal Courts building.
It's just extra sad that it was like one of the best people that I knew in my life.
Arnold Walker among those in court today delivering a victim impact statement.
She had no enemies, as I said before.
The late Frances Walker, beloved by multitudes of people through the decades, the skilled organist performing at weddings, first communions, and funerals.
There is no courtroom big enough for all the people who knew and loved Fran.
On the 5900 block of North Washington on Chicago's far north side, Walker opening a boarding house for single women where she tried to evict Sandra Kalalu, that boarding house in October of 2022, where police later found Walker's dismembered body parts minus the torso, prosecutors alleging Kalalu dumped it in the lake. In April, a jury convicting Kalalu on first-degree murder, dismemberment charges, and aggravated identity theft. Before the sentencing in court today, Kalalu standing to address Walker's family. "I would like to send my condolences to Fran's family," she says. "I understand a jury found me legally liable for murder, but I did not commit this crime. With God as my witness, I never harmed Fran." Judge Ursula Walowski, in her sentencing, telling the court that the evidence in this case was, quote, very substantial, but Kalalu's attorneys say that they will appeal her case, among other things, alleging that the police investigation into the matter was flawed.
I wonder what's tap dancing by saying that bitch is dumb and deserves to rot in hell for what she did. I wonder if I'm strutting my stuff by saying she shouldn't have done that and now she's going to face the wrath of Big Frida and the devil when her time comes. I wonder if you hear from the family members, do you think, you're all tap dancing? I wonder if I'm defending the Euros. I wonder if I'm defending the Euros when I talked about the black man that shot and killed a black woman because the woman beat him in a basketball game. I wonder if I'm tap dancing for the Euros when I'm talking about people who are fixated on race and slavery concepts so much that they want white people to stand in front of them and shield them from potential mass shootings when they go see a Black Panther movie. I wonder if I'm tap dancing criticizing a black woman who had a shitty pink sauce product. I'm wondering if I'm tap dancing when we point out how segregation is clearly bad and motherfuckers want to do it now because it's their form of representation or reparations, because how dare white people want to experience culture that is not theirs, but when they do it, it's cultural appropriation. I wonder if that's tap dancing. You see, the thing that irks me so much about a collection of people who think like this is that you have this concept where you think everybody in a specific group is nothing but innocent person. And I'm sorry to burst that bubble. The amount of good that's going on, that's wonderful. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no good happening in the black community. There is. There are people putting in work to shape a lot of young black boys' minds so that they could be better individuals. You know what's so funny about that? You got black people who are older than these black boys seeing them in suits and calling them fucking corny for it and calling them lame and asking why they even doing that, because they'd rather see a boy getting twerked on by a grown adult, because that's black culture and that's what matters. Oh no, I'm tap dancing again. Here's the thing, bucko. Here's what I need you to understand. In this world, you're going to have to realize that everybody's not a pagan saint. Everybody's not interested in propaganda, which might be some fake shit that you coming up with so that you could have people look at you a different way, which is also not good, but besides the point. That's not how we're going to operate here. Whatever we see on the internet and we choose to laugh at and make a video about, we're going to. We're not going to succumb to the random peer pressure of a dumb fuck who seemingly thinks that criticizing a black person doing a stupid thing is tap dancing. Black people who are operating very stupidly and doing criminal things that they shouldn't is tap dancing. And no amount of struggle is going to justify doing a criminal activity. Because if you think it does, my question to you next is, can I come rob you? Because I'm pretty sure you got something that I don't have, and that's a means to justify anything for you dumb motherfuckers. But in the meantime, I want that person who killed that landlord in jail. And I'm glad they're going to be there for 58 years. And I can't wait for them to be in hell with the devil. And if you have a problem with that, maybe you should start tap dancing and justifying a murderer, because they got some black people who do that too. But in the meantime, I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, my tap dancers. Mwah.